Who are the top 2-start pitchers and sleeper hitters for Week 5? Find out next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Friday, April 18th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and let's take a preview. Let's preview Week 5 and start with the schedule. I believe for the first time this season, we have 2 teams with 5 games, the Cubs and the Dodgers, 24 teams with 6 games, and 4 teams with 7 games, the Red Sox, White Sox, Brewers, and Giants. As for the Rockies, they have 6 games next week, only 3 in Coors Field. Those are against the Reds. Starters sit these 2-start pitchers for next week, and most weeks it's a no-brainer, must-start pitcher. Probably still is, but Aaron Nola's off to a bad start, Scott, and he's got 2 tough matchups at the Mets, at the Cubs.
Yeah, I just stick with him because the track record is what it is, and at times it can look bad for Aaron Nola, but I think if you start picking and choosing when to start him, you're going to miss out on a lot of the good starts that help bring the early slow start into line. So I think you just start him and not overthink it.
Robbie Ray is home against the Brewers and Rangers.
So obviously not as clear of a track record for Robbie Ray, and he has been shaky so far. But good chance in a 2-start week he'll give you 15 plus strikeouts. I think in most cases you're not going to want to turn that down. If you're especially concerned about your ERA whip early in a roto league, maybe you do pass on Robbie Ray, but I would start him in most cases.
Tyler McGill is home against the Phillies and at the Nationals.
Yeah, tough matchups there, and he's coming off his worst start, and I don't really buy into the ERA he has, so I would leave Tyler McGill for points leagues.
Gavin Williams home against the Yankees and Red Sox. Woof.
Really tough matchups there, and he's been pretty disappointing so far, so just points leagues for Gavin Williams as well.
Walker Buehler home against the White Sox and at the Guardians.
Because the White Sox are in there, I'm willing to give Walker Buehler a shot in points leagues. Otherwise, he'd be in the no thanks section.
And Mitchell Parker, who's off to a nice start, is home against the Orioles and Mets.
Yeah, I think it's a no for me. I was tempted to put him in the head-to-head points only section because he is off to a good start, but those matchups are so tough, and I don't really buy into what Parker's doing anyway.
Which 2-star pitchers are you looking to add for next week?
Well, it's not a great list. Clark Schmidt is the top one. He gets the Guardians and the Blue Jays, but of course he's only 1 start removed from an IL stint and still kind of up in the air how he's going to perform. Jose Quintana gets the Giants and Cardinals, and pretty low ceiling pitcher, but in a 2-start week, I think the floor is high enough that you can use him at least in points leagues. And then already it gets pretty ugly here. Jordan Hicks, the ERA and whip are pretty high for him. He's walked some guys recently. There is some reason for optimism with the way his arsenal looks, but I'd leave him for points leagues against the Brewers and Rangers. I would also leave Zach Littell for points leagues. 2 good starts, 2 bad so far. Diamondbacks, Padres are the matchups, so not great. You're just hoping he gives you a couple of quality starts with an ERA not too far above 4 for the week. Pretty much just a points league option there too. Osvaldo Bido gets the Rangers and White Sox. Not a ton of upside, but you like that White Sox matchup. And finally, Nick Martinez at Miami, at Colorado. I don't have a lot of faith in Martinez overall at this point. It's quickly running out, but those are great matchups. Even the one at Coors Field. I understand Coors Field is dangerous as it gets, but the Rockies lineup is the worst statistically, and I think the worst on paper as well.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back in, FBT Express. Back into our Week 5 preview. Scott, who are some 1-start streamers you like for next week?
Tyler Mahle's at the top of the list at San Francisco. Mahle's just look great. I think it's pretty slim pickings on the waiver wire right now for pitchers, so tough tough selection, but Mally's the one I have the most confidence in because of the way he's pitched. The Giants, I believe, are third in runs scored, so it is a dangerous matchup. I don't actually believe they're the third best lineup in baseball. I think there's some regression bound to come there. And but if it doesn't happen this week, at least it's at San Francisco, Pitchers Park for Tyler Mahle. So he's my favorite. Shane Smith has pitched well. He's at Minnesota. Twins have really struggled early on. Luis Severino and David Festa both get the White Sox. I prefer Severino because he might actually pitch deep into the game. David Festa has yet to go 5 innings. He's looked good in his 2 starts, but has been really limited in terms of workload.
Let's slide over to the hitters and the best matchups for next week. The Tigers, Athletics, Guardians, Red Sox, and White Sox. The worst hitter matchups, Cubs, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Rays, and Astros. Scott, who are your favorite sleeper hitters for week 5?
So the Rays actually have the 4th worst hitter matchups, but I have Jonathan Aranda here at the top of the list because I keep finding excuses to leave him off the list. Too many left-handers, bad matchups, whatever, and he just keeps performing, and I'm tired of missing out on it. I think he's great. Only one left-hander on the schedule for the Rays this week, even though the pitching matchups are kind of tough. Taylor Ward performed well lately, usually performs well in April. The matchups are fine there. Brewers have decent matchups. They're one of the 4 teams playing 7 games, so I like both Sal Frelick, who's been running a lot more lately, and Rhys Hoskins, who's really picked up his performance of late. Suddenly his ratio stats look pretty normal. Kyle Mazzardo has really cooled off after a hot start, but the Guardians have the 3rd best hitter matchups, only one lefty on the schedule, so you expect Mazzardo to stay in the lineup, and I think there's a good chance he bounces back. Nate Lowe, or Nathaniel, if you prefer. Nationals have good matchups this week, only one left-hander. I think he's a fine choice. The Reds have a series at Coors Field. I think that's good news for their leadoff man, TJ Friedl, and also good news for Austin Hayes, who already has a couple home runs returning from the IL. He seems poised for a bounce-back season after having a kidney infection he was dealing with at the end of last season. Really messed up his time in Philadelphia. Jorge Polanco's hit the ball well all year, like the Mariners matchups this week. And Tyler Fitzgerald, with the Giants playing 7 games, he has been performing well of late. I don't think the ceiling is as high as he showed last year, but not a bad play with the way he's looking right now. Tyler Fitzgerald.
Yeah, Tyler Fitzgerald over his last 9 games, it's a .419 batting average, 2 home runs, 2 steals, and he's doing a little bit of everything. He's looked pretty good lately, so yeah, I can get behind that one as well. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.